Thank you very much. Welcome again. And our today's session is part of the reimagining the future. It's the coaching week, and we are here, the Saudi chapter. My name is Saeed Al-Ghamdi. Welcome again, and I'm a board member of the Saudi chapter. Welcome all of you. Welcome, I welcome our guest, honorable guest. And we are going to have interesting webinar today. Dr. Iftikhar is distinguished guest, and he is an MCC coach, and he is the chairman of the ICF Global Board for coaching in organizations, and he is an executive leadership coach and director of organization excellence at King Fahd University, Petroleum and Minerals, where I had the chance to work with him for 50 years. It's about 15 years that we worked together. And also Coach Iftikhar is working with different international organizations as a coach also, and as a consultant. And he holds a PhD in leadership coaching. So, and his vision for workplace is a community bounded by shared value of purpose, diversity, collaboration, and excellence. Let me just speak a few minutes, if you allow me, Dr. Iftikhar, about you from my personal perspective. We had the chance to work together for so many years in King Fahd University, and also in coaching practice. We had a journey together in coaching. I learned a lot from Dr. Iftikhar. And if I can describe Dr. Iftikhar with one word, it is quality. I know this guy is a quality person, and he has done quality work, and he always appraised the quality. Welcome, Dr. Iftikhar, and I will leave the floor for you. So I will stop sharing my screen, and you can start your wonderful webinar, and encourage everybody to really pay attention to the deep concepts that Dr. Iftikhar will share with us. And I assure you, you will get quality information, quality practices, and quality experience. Welcome, Dr. Iftikhar.
Thank you, Saeed. Thank you. And I recall those great years. You were here in Dhahran when you left us for Riyadh. I'm sure for better things, but we cherish those memories when we were here. So thanks so much, and welcome everybody. My name is Iftikhar Nadeem. You can call me Iftikhar. And so let me share my presentation here. Saeed, you can tell me if you're seeing it. Yep.
Yes, I see it.
Okay,
yes.
Very good. So as Saeed said, I'm currently, I had the opportunity for this year to chair ICF Global Board for coaching and organizations. As you know, ICF has multiple family organizations, so I happens to be there. And so some of the information I would be sharing are coming from ICF. The latest research we have done is not been shared yet with others even. So because I'm in a Saudi chapter, so you should have some advantage, I thought, to see what others have not seen even around the world. So I was, by the way, in a Saudi chapter 3 years ago or 4 years. I was vice president also in ICF Saudi chapter. So Abdullah and other people we know very well. And I think the whole chapter is doing great. So I'm very privileged to be hosted by that chapter, which we were part of in the early years. It's still like a new chapter. It's like a startup trying to make its place. So, but so far so good. So coaching in organization, this is what we will discuss all things about. And so I will share with you some results of a study of value of coaching in organizations. So coaching in organization, as we all know, is very big topic, by the way. It's very broad, big topic, so, but I'll try to talk about it partially from ICF perspective, what ICF has done so far, why they created a separate family organization of coaching and organizations, and my own experience. I have been managing coaching engagements, as a coach educator also over the 10 plus years. So I will share my own perspective and case studies. So currently I have a privilege to coach under MISC Foundation or Google and many other organizations. So I will share whatever I have learned, And then what are the new prospects? Because we are seeing coaching an organization as a whole new parallel, coming, which is going to give us huge opportunities or prospects, which may have challenges, obviously, like any other. But it's going to have its own whole new ecosystem, of practice, collaborators, consultants, and others, So far, there has not been many consultants maybe in coaching, but now we may see emerging, because when you go to organizations, it's a different ball game, etc. So I will share that model, which is still work in progress, that how when your customer is the organization, not a coach, so how the game will change, how the whole business model for ICF is going to change in future. As we all know, ICF is dedicated to advancing coaching and by high standards and independent certifications, etc. It's more than 25 years. ICF is, doing this, and it's a leader, as we all know, with so many members around the world. It's going to hit, I think, 60,000. If it has not already hit, it's changing every day. And 160, 3 days ago, I was with ICF board, they call General Enterprise Board. So they were saying 167 or 8 countries now we have presence. So by far the largest than its competition, whether it's EMCC or AC or others. So, and credential holders are growing, and chapters around the world are growing. So we all know that. And so this is the what I'm going to talk, one of these new member of the ecosystem. So ICF a few years ago started, although we are one ICF, by the way, this does not mean different ICF. And we are, there was a meeting 2 weeks ago in the US, Alexandria, because just to have meeting of all officers in one place, we emphasize on one ICF. Although for organization purpose, or because there are mission differentiation among different family organizations. So there are 6 family organizations now. And one of them is coaching in organizations. ICF Foundation is another, thought leadership is one, credentials and standards, coaching education, professional coaches. So the largest is professional coaches, because that's where the chapters are, so all the, when people become coaches, so PC we call. So that's maybe the largest. And then coaching education, which is regulating the coaching education as ICF competency model, etc. So, and credentialing, we issue the certificates, the exams, etc. So all these are already there in place, doing good job for long. So the foundation and thought leadership, coaching and education, these are relatively new. So I chair a board of ICF Coaching and Organization, where we have members from organizations, in fact, So all the coaches and they represent an organizations. We have like SAP there, we have HP, we have Tata Consultancy, we have some from Singapore, Europe now. So US obviously is the dominating. So So our purpose is to lead the global advancement of coaching in organizations. So transforming the way people and teams work and thrive to achieve results. So focus is so that's where the team coaching, if you see, are getting acceleration in recent years, because we are going to organizations, they know ahead of the time that coaching is entering organizations. It has been there. I mean, it's not something new, but when an organization becomes member of ICF, that's where the whole thing starts changing. So what they're trying to do is improve the organization bench strength in coaching and boost the team and employee performance and overall retention of valued clients, obviously, and productivity, profitability. So this is where even the studies are, already, showing, the effect or impact of coaching in organizations. So we are participating in the coaching conversations around the world, building relationships. If you know, last few days, ATD meeting was a conference or annual event in the US. So the ICF had first time, maybe a second time, I think the biggest booth there and collaboration and lot of presence. So my team of coaching and organization was also there representing ICF. So is this the right time? Yeah, this is the great time. As we all know, coaching is really taking off, in organization or otherwise. So this is a great time. Now, this is when ICF is offering members to become organization, a member of, to the organization. So this is the new scene emerging within a year and a half, I would say. So around the world, there are members organizations. So we have 70 plus, and this is the distribution of those 70 organizations. So far, there are large organizations, by the way, where coaching was already, mature and strong. So they are the one who are becoming member. We in, still 62% is US, and obviously Canada 4%, Europe is 20%, UK including it would be 24%. So 8% in Middle East, mainly in 2-3 countries here, and 2% in Africa. So this is, and there's nothing in South America or Asia Pacific so far. So we are trying to, advocate there. So these are the organizations who have already become member. And if you see, KFUPM, by the way, was the first to become member. Obviously, I had to be because if I'm there. And then STC was next, and now Saudi Aramco, and I know a few others are in the pipeline. And ADNOC and QNB, others from the region are also member. So organizations are becoming member of ICF, not only the coaches, So the coaches who are within those organizations, they are, by the way, not automatically, but if that organization submit their names, they become member also, So it's like one organization, if you have 50 members, coaches inside, they will all, if the organization say, yeah, this is our Excel sheet, so they all become members. So they don't have to take ICF membership separately, So this is the one advantage. Organizations can sponsor the membership, they can write one check, etc. Or their coaches can become member with some promo code and all that membership, etc. There are some large organizations, by the way, if you look at Microsoft or I know SAP, because SAP is on our board, they have 900 coaches, So now they are writing one check for 900 coaches to become member and getting discounts, because it's a volume, so it's earning them some discounts also. So a lot of benefits for the members, on demand, live. There's a lot of new knowledge being created by ICF with the research of bringing some top-notch, people to talk about on different topics, etc. So they are trying to create or share knowledge which is not available, otherwise. because they have access not to these members. I personally myself, because I'm in the board and we have 10 plus members, so I have access to those members directly. What are they doing? What is happening in their organizations, etc. So all this is helping us to create stories, and share. And some very, very interesting stories are coming out. ICF coaching and organizations, we call CIO, by the way, coaching and organizations. So CIO is building programs in building a culture or promoting a culture of organization. Diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, all this is a big thing also, by the way. So 2 weeks ago, we had a full program, how to increase inclusion, let's say. So one thing we are now also researching or doing, how to take this membership to smaller organizations or small and medium, let's say, organizations, because they are out. Traditionally coaches has been like a privilege for the senior managers or big organizations. So how can this be taken to smaller organizations? So this is kind of inclusion, or if diversity obviously is there, equity is there. So how can we help them? Should we bring a different model, a lighter model to bring them on board? Team coaching, performance conversations with coaching. So these programs are very popular, like performance. So I'm involved in an initiative in designing, and now that initiative has been rolled out by Google around the world for 26,000 managers. So all these coaches, they're deploying through various platforms and other outsourcing channels, is to help managers do better in managing performance conversations. So that kind of thing, we in our own organizations, by the way, KFUPM, we have changed the performance model quite a bit, and we engaged coaches to help our managers, deans, chairs, directors, to hold those conversations, because this is where managers feel sometimes, it's a difficult conversation. So how a coach can help them make it comfortable, productive, or constructive conversation. So what should shift in my mind that I'm very comfortable doing such conversations. So this kind of programs are helping. Multi-stakeholder coaching agreements, executive sponsorships, other ethics and impact of coaching. So various programs and studies are going on. So we're building online community, obviously, of coaching and organizations community of practice, etc., so that people can share their knowledge. So some of these platforms are emerging now. There are future plans also, job boards, onboarding session, etc. So these are still work in progress. Now I will share the value of coaching in organizations if we change gears, let's say a little bit. This is based on a recent study, if you will, that how coaching is, impacting and creating culture and measuring that culture, improving, etc. So if you see, there's a strong evidence through this research that organizations with a strong coaching culture, are performing better. They are performing better. So they are performing better in how many ways and which ways we can see here. In customer satisfaction and shareholder value, which is the ultimate for any organization, if it's profitable or otherwise, even value is value. So employer of choice, talent attraction, because talent is looking what plan you have, my development opportunities in your organization. This is very important question for them. Productivity, profitability, large scale strategic changes, etc. So organizations with strong coaching culture are performing in all these areas better than others, where there's no culture, So investment in employee development and percentage of internal hires, internal mobility, employee engagement, which has been studied a lot always, by Gallup and others. So that is showing a big change. Percentage of employees assessed ready for senior leadership positions, this is your bench strength, which is like succession capital in an organization. And then high performing performers are the retention, of all those. Saeed, I will, as we agreed, we will have questions at the end. However, if there's a burning question, by the way, I won't mind taking sooner. So I'll depend on you. If there is, you can watch in the chat box, or if somebody wants to raise hand, I will rely on you for that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Please feel free to ask questions now for Iftikhar. And although that we agreed that we will have the questions to end of the session, but if there is a comment or question that we can share with Iftikhar, you can just type it into the chat.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So now, importance of coaching skills, whether it's a manager as a coach, people have coaching skills, but they are not coaches, or internal coaches, or informal coaches, part-time coaches, full-time coaches. There are all kind of, models in the organization, even in our region. I was in Cleveland, clinic in Abu Dhabi. They have 70 plus internal coaches. So, but they are part-time, most of them, very few full-time, mostly part-time. So all these people have, available, coaching is available to them. So we'll discuss how the culture is built. So it's helping in establishing trust, applying ethical standards, practice active listening. So these kind of skills, and being open, flexible and confident, using direct communication, managing progress of accountability. So I recall now, many of these are the skills we are trying to build or help build in Google managers, So when they say, okay, help these managers, so what we designed for them, the program is just rolling out now, was these skills, are the managers listening, first of all? Are they engaging, Are they holding employees accountable? So these are the things, all employees, managers, they know that. So are they engaging people in this? So these are the skills which are very important. And we know ICF coaching model is addressing all these skills.
Yeah. Dr. Iftikhar, I have a question that from our board members. Sure. They're saying that we know as coaches the value of coaching in organizations. Mm-hmm. And from your experience with dealing with different organizations, and especially lately with Google, you are now participating in some project with them to give more space for coaching in the organization. So what's your advice for us as coaches? How can we introduce this value in organizations? What are the ways?
I think it's a great question, first of all. Little early in this presentation, because I'm building the story for that,
Okay.
So yeah, I'm building. I'll get there very quickly soon. And that is our main, by the way. And I will bring my own case study where I worked and managed coaching engagements and others, and we have Ernst & Young story, which I got through ICF, but I have my own stories, which I worked. So I will share both case studies.
Now we have two questions. It's like, how large was this sample of study that you gave just a few seconds?
And yeah, I think there's an N value soon. You will see, I don't know, it was 250 or something, it is mentioned, I forgot it, and N equal to it, which was sample size number. So 259 or something like that. Yeah.
That question was from Fawzi Bobshet.
Okay.
From Sophia, which study that is there any specific name for that study, or what study that you are referring to?
Yeah, it's a building a coaching culture with managers and leaders. That's one study. But there's another study, value of coaching in organizations, conducted by ICF, HCI, Human Capital Institute, and others participated. Yeah.
So it's like a result of many studies.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, so this is by the way another evidence that when people were asked of what was present in your organization, how helpful was the activity in achieving the goal of change management? So in other words, how coaching helped change management to be more effective, let's say, in the organization. So there was coaching is one candidate. Other are formal learning, which is like, classroom training or other training, assessments, peer learning, and on-the-job learning. So these were compared, that which modality, let's say, or method of learning, because as a coach also we facilitate learning of our clients, whether individual or team or group. So it's learning to create a change. That's what fundamentally coaching is. So and we act as a coach, we are facilitator of that change. So coaching scored higher numbers, as you see here on the screen. So one-to-one coaching, 78% as compared to formal learning. And as we know in organizations, coaching is also by taking taking a big share what used to be classroom learning. Now when it comes to leadership training, classroom training is still there, and it's not disappearing. But either coaching is adding to it as a collaborator, as a co-method. Even in MISC Foundation, and the MISC 2030 leaders, where I'm working as a coach. So they have classroom training, 5 modules they do, and they have coaches like me, and they have a project, or action learning methods also. So they're combining different methods so that at the end, the leader capability is really built to a level that they can actually demonstrate that when they go to their workplace. So coaching was considered as a leader or a more effective method. However, I suggest you mix up, there's a right mix sometimes. If people don't know how to do something, they still need training, So it's not a substitute for everything. It has its own place. So it has to be then mixed, appropriately for a purpose, so that's why purpose is very important to define in any coaching engagement. Why we are having coaching, and then comes the process and operations and perspectives, but purpose is very important. Now the impact in organizations, it leads to obviously team functioning, engagement, productivity. This may look like little repetition, but this is where most effect is coming. And now when it comes to key steps to build a coaching culture, we feel sometimes, coaching culture, or this word is overplayed, but this is still the right thing to do, and in organizations to have that. And so what is happening when we say this organization has a coaching culture, or the other one does not have, or weaker culture, etc. So how do they differ? So as I said, also it can be integrated to other core element of talent development, and also you need to allow or it allows key influencers in the organizations to experience its power. So people who have tasted the organization, they become supporter, obviously. So train leaders, managers to use coaching skills. So soon they learn, some of them want to become coaches. That's where the ICF actually credibility, or ICF demand comes, that, oh, okay, I want to be certified coach or credentialed coach, etc. So focus on importance of ethics. But ethics and confidentiality, all this is also very important. If there's people got training, but then they are running the show with their own style, let's say, or the way they like it. So then there's something is missing, and that's the ethical standards, which ICF actually, emphasize a lot, And ICF, by the way, has this IRB, they call which is a board who receive complaints from organizations, if they have confidentiality is compromised, for example, by ICF credentialed coach. So if that coach is not credentialed, by ICF, they cannot go anywhere and complain. Maybe they can complain to HR or some organizations have their own internal ethics also. So, so they can go to. Now, even when organizations are becoming member, so they are also supposed to follow these ethics and standards. So that's where I believe ICF is going to add in future a lot of value. That if this organization is a member of ICF, so they pledge, to those high ethics. So key elements of a strong culture includes employee value. Employees are valuing coaching, senior executives value coaching, or there are a lot of accredited coach specific training. Coaching is a fixture or dedicated. There's a budget, and this is recognized as a investment, and employee have equal opportunity to receive coaching. Many organizations are now trying to open, to any employee can register and get coaching. So that's inclusion and diversity also helping over there. They leverage the 3 coaching modalities, etc. So how to measure it? Obviously, the impact of coaching can be measured, and I have shown you in the beginning some numbers on the return on expectation or investment, or there could be feedback from coaches, the appraisals or absenteeism, etc. Health and mental health, especially. So that may come under absenteeism rates, but that's also a big piece emerging. Employees have somebody to talk to, if they have something happening. So why people engage with coaching? These are the results, reasons for participating in coaching. They feel in organizations, they feel communication skills improving, work-life balance, and productivity opportunities, etc. So this is, by the way, one case study which is a winner of, if ICF has International Prism Award, given to organizations who have this, who has done well in implementing a coaching engagement or program. So this is given to like a winner. We have Middle East Prism Award also. So now what we are seeing with the CIO, coaching an organization coming up, and many organizations becoming member, there could be some more opportunities. So this is like a competition, but there could be something coming up which will recognize all organizations who are member, rather than just the winner, because this creates competition. So how about if all others are complying also, they are doing a good job. So there could be a additional or substitute thing coming in the future. So this organization, Ernst & Young, had won, but this data was collected after that. So I think a year ago from them, although they are a winner also. So they are saying they had a robust coaching culture with emphasize high quality conversations, reflection, and learning. This is obviously the crux of all this. People feel safe to do those conversations, and they're productive, and in the conversations they are exploring and learning, reflecting, etc. So support leaders during defining moments, so what we call coaching moments or coaching opportunities. Managers see that and sees it and do it. So they got results like 26% better understood what drives them. So 89% were clear about roles and responsibility. This was for transition coaching results, promotion, transition, which is a big piece in coaching in organizations, by the way. When do the managers need coaching? So transition is one area where managers need a lot of coaching. So this is where they felt strongly that they benefited from the coaching.
Now, I received a couple of questions that is like,
sure.
It's the right time for those. Karen, she was asking about what is specific to the MENA region. So, and all these statistics and numbers. And there is another question is saying from Abdullah Al-Ghamdi that he's saying, that what is the difference in the culture if they are hiring external or they have some, the organization is a member. So what is the difference between two? That the organization is hiring external coach, or it is organization with coaching culture?
Okay, so if you see here, I said, what are the elements of coaching in organizations? You see this screen? Yeah. So if you have these elements, these 6 elements, that mean of some degree, so that is the degree of your coaching culture, So you have coaches, you have internal, or you have managers that are trained to do coaching. Our employees are valuing coaching, executives are valuing coaching. There is a budget available for coaching, and employees have equal opportunity, for professional coaching, and etc. So if these elements are there in an organization, so they have a coaching culture. But if they have never heard of coaching and they have never done it, obviously they don't have, So some have maybe employees, executives have it, but employees don't have it, or they don't have budget dedicated, or they don't do manager as coach kind of training. So you can imagine then where do they stand? So maturity level would vary, for organization to organization. So whether internal coach or outsourced coaching, that's different ways of managing, or having a lot of part-time coaching, which is a growing trend in our region also. I don't have data, to be honest. Still, there are people who are part of career development or career advisors, and those people who are doing this work. Some have full-time coaches also, and some are mixing up with, like our own organization, we mixed up with training and external coaches mostly, and some studies with the internal coaching. So this is how it was. I hope that answered.
There is a question about the budget. I think it's very difficult to answer. Sophie, she is asking about what's the average personal development budget for middle managers in the organization, which are member of the ICF. How many percentage is dedicated for the coaching versus learning?
I don't know answer to this question.
Yeah, I know it's very difficult.
Maybe I will dig out. This is interesting. The surveys, if they are reflecting any such thing, these are difficult to know. But if there are surveys, because even in surveys, people will put some estimates. Nobody will give you real numbers. Sometimes it's difficult, by the way, to get real number, because large organizations, by the way, have so many sub-organizations and divisions, and they have their own budget, so they have their own regional. I'm talking to some large organizations like SAP, so they have so much diversity in different regions, so different even CEOs in different regions. So it's very difficult for them. Their challenge is to let people know about ICF membership. They took a year to inform them, So it depends on smaller organizations. Obviously, will have more accurate answer. Like in KFUP, we are trying to know with the very detailed cost management model. What is the cost of our research? It's so difficult to sometimes, because our people are teaching and researching, and so how much should go here, how much should go there, etc. So some things are difficult, but it's an interesting question. Doesn't mean it's not possible. Now, I think this is the right time, before I share more regional concrete data also and some my thoughts, to have a breakout session where I will, we have, let's say, we will make group of 5 each, almost like 5. And so that everybody get a chance to talk, and for 7 minutes. And this is the question you should discuss with your group members. What factors or initiative could have a multiplier effect on increased demand for coaching in organizations. So come up with anything crazy or feasible, whatever you think. But it should have a multiplier effect, by the way, not just you have demand for coaching now is let's say 10 people and it will have 12 next year. No, it should have 100, So what is that organizations should do, or what initiatives, factors, could have been done that will have multiplier effect on increased demand for coaching in organizations. So this is the question, and discuss, come up with anything, and we will then.
They will share their thoughts afterwards.
Yeah, they are representative. So assign one person to share.
Each
in
group
1 minute.
assign one person to share their thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. So once they come back, I'm sure they will do that. So one person debrief. Huh? So Said, I will send them into, or who has this control over, I think I can make the breakout. Is it with you or with?
Yeah, there is a breakout. Do you want me to send them to breakout?
Yeah.
How many rooms?
With the 5, group size is 5 and automatic. Let them randomly come here.
Okay. And then what is the time? They will come back themselves?
Yeah, we will inform them. 7 minutes. If you want to put theirs, put 7 minutes. Because they will get a reminder automatically.
I do not know how to make the
time. No problem. We can send a transmission or something, a message. Yeah. Okay. Are they going?
There is an invitation, but Haitham, are you with me? Hello, Iftikhar.
Hey,
Yeah.
I think my co-host status was taken away. But, so anyway, it's good. I joined one group and I was observing their discussion and I'm back now. So that's absolutely fine.
Okay, good. When we are ready, just let me know so that I can close all rooms and they will come back. And there are like 15 people. They're not in any room. They are not.
Because they joined late or what?
No, because maybe they are not present with us. They just going into the webinar and then
That's
maybe
fine. That's fine. I think 7 minutes are past, right? So let's stop.
Stop now or give like
Yeah.
a couple of minutes?
Stop now. Can you send, stop now. It may give them 60 seconds again, but stop now is okay. Yeah.
Close all rooms.
Yeah.
In 60 seconds, yeah, they will come back.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I was in room 5.
Yeah, I noticed.
Mhm.
They are now asking, and the questions are around one thing, is that how to promote in organizations the need. I mean, the question
Yeah,
that you
this is the question we asked.
This is the question.
Yeah, so we are crowdsourcing. Let's see,
Yeah.
what participants say about it. But there's no one way, one solution to all organizations. So there are large organizations, small ones, and new ones, and yeah.
Let's see what the people come up with.
Sure. I'm sure they have very interesting. In our room, was great points brought. In fact, so.
Now 35 people are back. Let's see.
Recording in progress.
We were in the middle of something.
Really? So, okay, let us invite those speakers and to share their thoughts and what they was coming up with them to answer this question.
Yeah. So we can begin with room number 1. So somebody from room number 1 would like to share. Are they muted by you, Said, or they can unmute themselves?
I think they can.
Okay.
Actually, yes, this is Abdurrahman.
Yes, Abdurrahman. You were in room number 1?
Yeah, I was in room number 1 and we were 2 people talking to each other only.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Maybe
Yeah.
some people opted not to join, which is possible. That's absolutely fine. So
I
go
don't know,
ahead.
maybe they had some audio issues.
Yeah,
Anyway,
sure.
We were talking about the impact of other organizations using coaching and the results that they got to convince a new organization or others to use the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
or
So
the
you're
same
saying they
practice.
need awareness
Yeah.
through some stories, success stories,
True.
maybe within the same country or a region.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the same culture and all. So if they know, oh, this organization has done so well with the coaching, so they will also follow, and will be convinced. That's a great point. Yeah. Excellent. So sharing success stories with the organization.
True.
Yeah.
And another idea was sharing success stories for employees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
talking about their
success
experience.
stories at maybe management level and employees level also maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So employees can maybe also create pressure to have the demand.
others.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Excellent. Okay, let's go to room number 2. We had 5 rooms, so we will go.
I am not quite sure which room number we are in, so.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was discussing with we are 4? Oh,
Walid.
sorry, then I will wait for our turn.
Thank you.
Who was, do you remember, guys, your room number?
Yeah, okay, I can
Yes,
speak for room 2 then. I was waiting for anyone else who
Alright.
wanted to volunteer.
Okay.
No, Salman, you can go.
Yeah, I was waiting. I wasn't sure who was speaking for us. So, but Mohammed, please jump in if there's anything else. A couple of things that stick out in my mind is, of course, we talked about, first of all, what's going to be a factor is simply, is there a need? You know, I mean, is there some problem to solve? Is there some sort of reason to address? Is there a place for coaching that will add value to the organization? And then within the coaching itself, I really like the comment that was made about it should be positive reinforcement rather than positive correction. You know, and so the role of coaching is not to fix someone, or rather to enhance. So those are 2 things that stuck out. But I'll ask my colleagues to add anything that they feel is could be added.
Positive
Yes,
reinforcement. Good.
Yes, there is another 2 points that change the mindset of the stockholder and the executive managers about coaching.
Mhm.
And the other thing that explain that coaching is not a linear, it's not one way, it's not a KPI,
Mhm.
it's more a transformation.
Mhm.
So this is all the points that we talked about in group 2, and I enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So Muhammad, who should do this? That's sometimes the big question, you know. Coaches know that because they want the
as a-
division to grow. Yeah.
As a salesperson, we
Uh-huh.
have something called coach, but it's not related to life coach. We have something like we call it coach in the area that you are selling something.
Mm.
So if you know someone in the hospital,
Mm.
the connection guy, we call him or call her a coach.
Mm.
So if you have an organization, you must have a coach inside the organization
Mm.
to help you on that. So this is sales point of view, not
Okay. Okay. Good.
coaching mindset.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
So you
So
get
this
some
is
internal intelligence. You're saying.
yes.
Okay. Very good. Next, room number 3, if they know their room, or Sophie, you were in the room, or what?
Yes, I
Go ahead.
cannot put on the video, but that's no problem.
That's fine. That's
So
fine.
I want to pick up the first comment of group 1.
Mhm.
So the case studies we have also talked about,
Mhm.
and case studies of other companies who
Mhm.
have implemented coaching for the whole company. So not only on executive level, but also middle management and just employees and the teams also, because then you convince the other companies that it has a positive impact when you provide coaching for a lot of your people and not only for executives. So that one, but also how can we give companies more insights and the return on investment of coaching? And then I'm talking about studies and research, because I have bought a lot of books measuring the return on investment, but it's so difficult for you as a coach to implement that in your sales conversation, and to do it also, the testing yourself. When you work alone as an ECF coach, you don't have the time to put on big research. So yeah, if you could help us to give us more info on the return on investment of coaching, it's not how do I say it? Just practical tips and research that you can use in your selling conversations.
Sure. Sure. Great. Thank you, so. So this was group 3 and room 4. Anybody?
Walid now he's waiting. Walid.
Okay.
Go ahead, Walid.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So what we discussed, me, Idris, and Mr. Abdullah, it was like a lot of ideas we had. One of them is to have, let's say, a webinar or a conference that can be presented to the executives and the teams. This is one idea. I mean, this maybe Mr. Iftikhar will ask who should do that. It's going to be either ICF has to pitch in that, and also the coaches themselves. At the end of the day, coaches are spreading the word about the culture. And another point was also the same as other as the discussion rooms mentioned, is sharing success stories and showing the management. Sometimes it's all about the numbers, but add to that sometimes you have to do, let's say, a demo of either executives to understand what actually is coaching. Because sometimes there is a wrong message or a wrong image about coaching. It's not like witchcraft and mind changing. So it's a science on its own. So that's another point. And it was something that I like grasped from other people's discussion, is that sometimes you need to work on not the executive, even like before they become executives. We need to work on maybe the younger generation so that they can, I mean, see the impact. I mean, I myself did and see the impact, so I can understand how it can change organizations as a whole. So that's my thoughts, and I added a bit from my mind, and of course my friends Ahmed Idris and Abdullah Al-Ghamdi. So thank you, and back to you, Iftikhar and Mr. Said.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Walid. So this was room 4, I'm assuming, or some other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are
Okay,
only
so last
with
room,
one.
we have one more room where I know 3 people were there. So
Yes,
Karen,
thank you. Isam and Liro nominated me, Dr. Iftikhar, so you joined us as well.
Sure.
So I'm Karen, and what was so interesting in our room were two key points, which we all experienced, was that if we didn't have the buy-in from the top, it often was not an successful coaching engagement or creating the coaching culture. And there were 2 of us in the room who had both worked for a previous company, which will remain unnamed, where they had some negative experiences with coaches who weren't certified nor credentialed, and actually created some negative impact among the leadership, and negatively impacted their feelings about coaching. So we talked about everything that you all said, and Walid, I totally agree, your points, and giving demos so they understand what coaching really is. So that was so important. And I shared with the group how I had worked for an organization where the CEO got up and shared with his top 120 leaders in a very vulnerable way, especially in this region, and saying how much coaching benefited him and how this is why he had hired someone like me as an internal coach to coach the leaders, and everyone was welcome for coaching. So you can imagine the impact that happened. So we just talked about how you need to have the top buy-in is so critical. And if I may just add something, Sophie, that you asked, recently ICF sent out a link to all of its members as a way to measure our impact, our ROI, ROE with our clients if we're not part of an organization. And I'm happy to share that if you haven't seen that link for ICF. So they're helping us collect matrix for those of us who might be smaller or working internally or externally.
Good, great. And I appreciate sharing all information with all of us and whoever is interested. So great. Anyone else? I know Fawzi, you maybe wanted to, or your group has already represented you in your room. Okay, so let's continue. And so these are great points. If I can summarize what we were hearing, which are, excellent points. And so I heard results of other organizations, success stories to be shared at various levels of, let's say, senior management, executive levels, people who sponsor, or at lower level, that's employee level, individual contributors level, etc. So also it was mentioned positive reinforcement rather than correction. It's a great point, to add, to the other maybe form of learning. And then stakeholders mindset transformation, case studies again, ROI research, and executive webinars, buy-in from the top, etc. So all these are excellent points. So, but it's all leading to one thing, which is my next slide I want to share with you. And it's confirming, in fact, more or less where we were, and I wanted to share. So, okay. Yeah. So here is now what at ICF we are seeing that are, if you unpack the current ICF business model of coaching. So, we have various, as I mentioned, ecosystem. We have family organizations called FOs. PC is professional coaching, then credentials and standards, or coaching education, which used to be coach training. So who are they focusing? They have been focusing. They have been focusing professional coaches. So even, by the way, research in the marketplace has been around coaches, coaching coaches, not client-centered that much, So when I started my PhD research, so one of the thing I strikingly found, and my fellow researchers were also talking about it, that coaching is not client-centered as much as it should be. It's focusing about coaches. I'm a coach. I have this model. I have this framework. I coach this way. I coach that way. What about the client? Who's researching on the client? So coaches were a target by ICF. So they said, okay, coaches, you want to learn coaching, so you need go to coach educators, accredited coaching organizations. And they will then train you. You come to us, we will give you credentials. We will also try to promote coaching. So there's a more demand, for coaching and coaches, in fact, so that there's a more demand for credentialing, in other words. So how are they doing? They had those, now they call level 1, 2, 3, or ACSTH, ACTP, etc. So for coach educators and credentialing, ACC, PCC, MCC. And membership, they had a membership model. They have a chapters model. So there are 168 something chapters. So this is the business model. The who was the professional coach. So not internal necessarily or external, but coach, anybody who want to be coach. So coach educators and coach. Now, when we are going to the second part, you see here, the CIO, the CIO, when it comes to coaching in organizations, CIO. So who has changed? So who is the organization? So all that points you are giving me, or great factors you are discussing, because the who has changed. So you're saying it's not coach. I think nobody mentioned that much of a coach. You all mentioned the CEO, the decision makers, the sponsors of the organization, their awareness, So decision-making model has changed. It's not targeting coaching, it's targeting the organization. And every organization has a different people who can either influence, a CEO doesn't know, he relies on HR, he relies on OD, he relies on T&D or somebody. So they say, oh, okay, you have it. Okay, they prove them. This is a better way of developing talent, etc. So what has to change also? So what means the accreditation of assessors? So if there's a framework of knowing that this organization has, a better coaching practice or culture or something, how do we know that? Just like, by the way, so we have in quality standards or excellence standards, in the US, Malcolm Baldrige Award or ISO or those EFQ, or what they call European standards of excellence, EFEQ. So something like that might be needed. Now, this discussion, by the way, is still raw and in progress happening at ICF. So we are having even some support from consulting, some research, some our own community members, that what should change, if our customer is changing, So, and customer is then not, so it's not the education only, that will still be there, or credentialing. It's a decision maker who's not interested in learning coaching, but who's interested in knowing the value of coaching, etc. So this means credentials of assessors, so there could be organizations who will need assessment, promote coaching benefits. And then the how would be ICF coaching framework of certification organizations. So you have to certify this organization is doing better, or they are in compliance or something. Just like a coach is in compliance with the body of knowledge, and we give them, PCC or something, credential, same organizations have to. And we need obviously some award or sustainability of members, how to keep them around, because if they see there is no promised value delivered, so they will not come back to you, so what would happen in that case? So I see, Waleed, you have raised hand. You have any quick question?
No, Mr. Iftikhar, I didn't raise my hand. I just gave a thumbs up. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah,
Sorry. I saw that as a thank you.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I'm saying this is something new prospect. When I said new prospect and challenges, so when the customer has changed, the model has to change. So current model will not sustain, So as you all enlightened me, and we believe that's true, that you have to go to decision makers, or this is, by the way, the KFUPM study. I thought I will quickly share that we have several coaching engagement. What did we learn from that? And this is our mission. This is a new mission. Some of KFUPM has become independent organization, just like KAUST. And we have a new president, and so certain things are changing. So we are resetting our direction and our focus in the organization itself. And so that shift is currently taking place, and we had some coaching engagements. We are one of the top in patents and research. It's a lot of partners we have around the world working with KFUPM now. And so our framework was, first thing we look at is the purpose. What do we want to change? When we are talking about, if coaching comes later, by the way. So it doesn't start with coaching. It comes with, what do we want to do? And then the perspective, what is the context? Sometimes we work with academics, and sometimes we are with service managers. So what is the context, So, and then the process. What is the best process to do this? So this is how the story unveils. And then we obviously all are, these, Said, maybe, I think you can mute. Yeah, okay, thank you. The stakeholders, who are the stakeholders? So we try to engage them, coaches, external coaches, we had mostly, direct managers. So these triangular meetings are held with the managers. So we had several engagements. So leadership coaching. So we by the way learned, and we found some ways were working, some were not working, frankly. So we were trying to let's say correct or improve. And for example, I will give you in the first one. We said all managers, service managers, you are in. You have to go through 5 sessions. Khalas, So we found some were very excited, others were not. We were looking for them. Where are you? Coach is waiting for you. So I think some volunteerism is important, that we engage people. Maybe we need to do this through better selling of that service or not, but it has to be done. So second time we went little, because we were burned by the first one, and even our coach selection was not that good, I would say. And I admit, because I was managing this program. So second one, we improved and we went overboard, I guess. We made us framework, but little tighter one. So we had a lesser number of more sessions, but less people. They were carefully chosen, etc. So, but the framework, the outcomes were like predefined, which did not work again. So we said, no, next time we need to loosen up. So somewhere in the middle, this was the third then coaching engagement. Each one, by the way, were over several months. So we then, used assessments and 12 top leaders. This was executive coaching by some coaches coming from Europe and working here, regional also. So we learned many lessons from these engagements, that mandatory enrollment is not good. Coaches must align with purpose. The reflection is more effective. Triangular meetings are critical, where coach, manager, and the coachee or client also meet together, so they support each other. So that's the supporting mechanism also. And the goal achievement is tricky. As you all know, there's a lot of research by the coming that goal setting has, like adverse effect on coaching also, or even achieving some big things in life. So you have to be very careful having outcomes set, or goals, because that creates some stress, in performance. So, oh, I have to achieve this, So imagine if you are passionate to do it, but not with the stress of achieving outcome. How would that look like? So we feel that that's more important than setting outcomes. So that was the learning. And then the last one is learning goals were more important than very specific goals, learning goals. When people felt they are learning something new, that they felt is more critical in their, critical thinking or any other ways. So more useful for them at executive level. And learning style vary, wellness is important. So these were also very important lessons. So we found, like in a university, if you are a dean or a executive who have a background of engineering, for example, versus a social scientist, they were behaving quite differently, because they were so much impacted by their disciplinary background. I'm an engineer a whole life. I believe in numbers, So I don't give me this bullshit of intuition and all that. So they're missing something. So coach was challenging them that this is how you analyze things. So what is that you're missing, if we are not doing alternative something. So, and people who were more, they had better wellness or rested, their decision-making was much better than those who are running, from meeting to meeting and others. So they talked about that stress a lot, So these are some learning, let's say, lessons from us. So we have 10 minutes. I would ask Said if you have questions or want to moderate Q&A session, we can.
I think if anybody has a question, can unmute and ask directly the question. I have one question here from Safia, again saying that what are the assessments that you are using in the King Fahd University for this modality that you used?
Yeah, so we use 3 assessments. One is the Hogan assessment, Other was our own leadership development assessment we have. This is some performance organizations also for using for performance management, but it's like a behavioral, very similar to, GLF or something, Global Leader of the Future or other assessments. So these are like this is 360, the second one I'm talking about. We sometimes use Myers-Briggs type indicators, MBTI also. So this is what we were using here, but I have been using others like FIRO-B or others also. Some organizations have different, they give you to coach, some are needed by the coach, has to be certified, but there are large number of Yeah, assessments being used. Assessment is a big part of, by the way, coaching and organizations, so this is important topic, important subject, because somehow people like to be seen in black and white or numbers or something. So assessment is also one big part of coaching and organizations.
Thank you very much. Just one question. So the assessments, the real purpose is to look at the skills, I think, in which skill they can develop themselves. So, yeah, I'm not convinced that there's always a need for assessment, because every manager knows at which point he can improve himself or herself, I think. No?
Yes and no.
Okay.
If it's about skills, so skills assessments are used at a very low level, by the way. So in coaching, there's hardly any room for skill assessment, by the way. If you are talking about behavioral, which I have blind spots, for example, as a manager, I'm not aware, but people around me are telling me, the 360 assessment, they are identifying those blind spots. So such outcomes of those assessments become your coaching agenda, and I have done it, so many times. So managers agree, yes, oh my God, I was not aware of it. I'm doing this. Oh, okay. So I want to discuss and improve that, So these are behavioral. Hogan is obviously also more about personality and styles, etc. So that is not skills. Skills is for selection, maybe, of new employees. So I don't think anybody is using, because as a coach, we don't improve skills of anybody,
No.
So yeah.
No, okay, but that's clear. No, I'm using also tests, but behavioral, like you said, for the blind spots, they don't see it always yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Any other question, please? Feel free to unmute yourself or write in the chat. Okay, then I have a question. Oh, please go ahead.
Sorry, Sir Said. I have a question regarding, from your experience, Mr. Iftikhar, for starting up a coaching culture in a new or a growing starting up company. What would be the key multipliers or key buy-ins, ways to spread this culture inside the organization?
Excellent question. This is, by the way, what we also in ICF or otherwise are thinking, and my own take is also that when coaching, multiplier effect will come or increased demand will come when coaching is deployed to solve something, at a small or large scale, This Google example, by the way, is very clear. When they have 26,000 managers, so they have changed or upped their game for performance management, So they want to solve managers' ability to manage that performance conversations more effectively, and they are giving these opportunities to those managers that we are giving you opportunity to discuss this with somebody from outside, let's say, and in a confidential, safe environment. So they are discussing, and because we coach the person, we're not talking about, by the way, the method of performance management. This is given, but we are discussing the personal, like even our own organization, we felt our people are hesitant to do difficult conversations, So how a coach can, in addition to maybe some training, because there is a method to do that. And then there's a coach who's observing also, or having one-to-one discussion with that manager, that how can you do better next time? So because managers do feel, call it difficult because they have a risk of losing or have the relationship, with that employee. They think, oh, if I give him bad message, how would he take it? My relationship will be at stake. Manager themselves, are not comfortable enough. So how can you make that conversations like a learning conversation or something, so that they do it more easily? So that kind of deployment of coaching, whether it's a startup. So startup, by the way, I work with some startup, I can tell you my experience. So startups have a culture of changing a lot, you know. So one startup brought a manager from a product manager from another company who was very well, like a very disciplined project manager, you know. So when he came, he wanted same environment or stable environment in this new organization. But the new organization was not stable. You know, they were changing things twice a day. You know, the whole plan was being rehacked. And yeah, thank you, Hassan. So this was like issue with this guy. He said, I'm in this organization. I came from this organization where things were he was a project manager, product manager. So he was looking for certainty and, you know, and stability. And he said, my managers change the plan every day. So I cannot plan here, you know. So he was not aligned or transitioning well to this new culture of startup. So once he understood this is how the game is played here, he aligned very well. So he started, you know, feeling comfortable with this new environment. So this is another way you can deploy coaching.
Okay.
But this trajectory of change in organizations, every organization have their own journey and path. By the way, it won't happen overnight. It will happen gradually in a non-linear way. You have one manager who's so aware of coaching, he will support a lot, next one will not. So then the new comes, but there is the overall let's say in the corporate culture, this thing is coming. We know it's better than 5 years ago and 10 years ago, way better. So this is how we see it's a positive trend everywhere that overall coaches are growing. Coaching
Não,
growing,
pois
you know.
isso eu sei exato. Eu estou a dizer é.
Okay, so this is it.
I have something to add.
Yeah, sure, please.
After listening to the whole webinar, I could conclude, which you also mentioned a couple of minutes before, that the organizational readiness for introducing coaching is very important. By readiness, I mean the cultural, the organization should be ready in terms of culture, the buy-in from the top management, and the acceptance from the employee, and the buy-in from the stakeholder. They should know the importance of coaching. It should not be a mandate. It should rather be a movement. Slowly, it should be induced, and the objective should be very clear to the to the employee who is being coached and the assessors. And the second point, the most important, what I understood from the entire discussion is like the implementation. It would play a very critical role in the success of it. Like, you know, how well it is implemented. Before the implementation, the blueprint should be ready. The assessor should be trained well in advance, like what they want out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Kirkpatrick plans or something, you start with the end in mind. So what results we want, and then is coaching the right solution for that, and then you go back to implementing, measuring, etc. So
maybe we can have a pilot, you know, the organization can have a pilot study before, you know, implementing it organizational wide.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you
very much for everybody here. And special thanks for Dr. Iftikhar. It was a wonderful night. I enjoyed every minute of it, and there is a lot of insight, a lot of information, a lot of new things here. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for attending. And we hope they can have another webinars, and I am sure that we need you, Dr. Iftikhar, to come again in different occasions. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Saeed. And also, by the way, my message to all the people here in Saudi, if you need any help from ICF, CIO, coaching and organizations, so you can come through the chapter we have or directly. So we would be very happy to take some advantage of me being here, so bringing the best resources from ICF headquarters if needed. I would love to, and through that chapter or otherwise, so whatever works, so appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Iftikhar. And by the end of this session, I would like also to invite you for our coming session for ICF Saudi chapter with Abdullah Al-Yahya. It will be tomorrow, inshallah. Before you go, please go ahead and evaluate, use this link, or if you can go to chat, I think there will be a link for the evaluation. So please use it and to give us your feedback. And thank you very much, Dr. Iftikhar. We will see you, inshallah, soon.
Inshallah. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
everybody.
all. Thank you.
Thank you.